Hi there, this is Josh from Literary Gladiators, and today I'm here with a book haul of the books I bought on my 12th visit to the Book Garden in Cream Ridge, New Jersey. And this trip to the Book Garden was a field trip that I took part in with the other Gladiators. Charlie, Andrew, Ari and Leah, Jesse, Tori, and Valerie all went, and we had a great time. It was the 30th anniversary celebration, so everything in the store was 30% off, and it was just amazing. I really took the opportunity to see what they had and load it up. I really loved their selection, as I always do, and everybody had a great time, which is what matters the most. And after that, we went to Plumstead Grill and TK's for ice cream. This is our third annual field trip, and we want to keep it going. So let's get into it. These are the books that I bought while I was there. And the first of which was Roosevelt's Secret War, FDR and World War II Espionage by Joseph E. Persico. And this is something that I wanted to add to my collection, which explores FDR and his approach to the Second World War from another lens and another pocket. And I really am inclined to... I'm really inclined to see how this biography, one of many about FDR, and in this case a more concentrated biography, how it pans out. Next one that I got is O'Neill, Son and Artist by Louis Sheaffer. Recently I invested in a and it turns out there's also a book having to do with Eugene O'Neill as a son and playwright, and I just found out as well, upon looking at this, that this was signed by the author himself, Louis Sheaffer, that is. But I recently invested in the Complete Plays of Eugene O'Neill Library of America edition. It has every play that O'Neill has written, and I really want to get into reading them, and possibly reading at least one of them for a future discussion on our channel. Plays are something that I really want to get into. And so, this book was worth grabbing. I got the Complete Western Stories of Elmore Leonard. I also want to get into short stories and use them as possible works of consideration for the channel. And I've heard a mixed amount of things pertaining to Elmore Leonard's writing career, and I'll be interesting to see how he approaches the Western, because Westerns are not my favorite genre because I feel that they are frequently mysticized. We often get this mythological, almost cliched story about the cowboys and the colonists going out west to shoot down Indians, when in actuality things happen much differently from what the Western actually says. So I'll be curious to see if Elmore Leonard approaches it any differently than, say, writers like Cormac McCarthy, or the way that Little Big Man was structured, how that portrays the West in a bit more of a realistic kind of way. Next thing I got is The More Than Complete Hitchhiker's Guide by Douglas Adams, complete and unabridged. This doesn't only include The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which we went over back in Season 5, it was the season premiere. There's also The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, Life, the Universe, and Everything, So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, and Young Zapoid Plays It Safe. And I think Ari would get a kick out of checking this one out. This may mean we go over The Restaurant at the End of the Universe sooner as opposed to later. It's all going to come down to what's in store. And I got Parade's End by Ford Madox Ford. Ford Madox Ford was... some of his works have been considered to be great masterpieces that everybody needs to read, and I think this is one of them. And I'll be really curious to see how this turns out. Next two books that I got were in the what they call the classics section of the store. And these pertain to stories set in Axis areas during the Second World War. And I'm intrigued to see how the Axis areas are portrayed in these books. One of which was Sink the Bismarck by C.S. Forster, and the other one is Bread and Wine by Ignazio Silone. I got The Age of Jackson by Arthur M. Schlesinger Jr. Schlesinger Jr. is a grand authority when it comes to books about American history, and in particular, U.S. presidential history. So I would really be inclined to check this out, even though it's the abridged edition. I may try and look for a non-abridged edition, but this came out in this came out originally in 1945, and it'll be really interesting to see how Jackson was foreseen back then, because the years have the tendency to have an impact on the impression of historical figures, and I think that Andrew Jackson's, with time, has waned for the worse. He is still one of our most mixed bags as far as presidential opinion is concerned, but we'll have to see how this book turns out. Next one that I got is Horrors, which is an anthology of horror short stories edited by Charles L. Grant. Grant is a New Jersey native and the founder of the Garden State Horror Writers group. It eventually became Garden State Speculative Fiction Writers, which I took part in that group for a few years and contributed to their anthology. But this, the highlight writer in this collection is Stephen King, but there are several other horror writers that have also contributed to this, and I may have checked out a few of them. Stephen King is the more familiar one. He's a renowned master of modern-day horror. But you have Dennis Etchison is someone I recognize, David Morrell, and Lisa Tuttle. I've seen some of the other names here and there, but they're not as familiar. This one was an interesting one that I picked up, Screamplays, which was edited by Richard Chizmar, who is the editor and he's the editor of Cemetery Dance, which is the most renowned horror fiction magazine that's out there. There's an introduction by Dean Koontz, and There are plays in here written by Stephen King, Harlan Ellison, Richard Matheson, Richard Lehman, Joe Lansdale, and Ed Gorman. So this is going to be something to check out. I'm really inclined to see how these writers take on the script format. Next two books that I picked up were more brain exercise related books. I got Brainteasers, 195 Puzzles to Keep You Sharp, and Braingames Mini Mysteries, which solve perplexing puzzles and cryptic brain teasers. Something you might want to know about me is I have a massive collection of penny press puzzle magazines and some other brain game related material that I just haven't gotten to yet, and I need to do so. I have the Jeopardy brain games. That's something I want to check out. And I just want to be able to work my brain a little bit more, and those are things I may look into and possibly even incorporate them into the channel with reviews, but in particular the ones that are books, not necessarily the magazines. But then again, the Book Garden has a very prevalent collection of National Geographic magazines that span back decades. If it were up to George, he would have a good stock of the magazines from 100 years ago. And he may even, if the opportunity presents itself, he would sell them if someone brings them in. And the last thing that I got was a collection of books. And this includes, these are stories by foreign authors. And these are just about antiques. These are 10 collections. There's 3 French, 2 German, Scandinavian, Spanish, Italian, Russian, and Polish, Greek, Belgian, and Hungarian. These are all short stories, and this collection dates back. These were published. These books came out in 1898. So these physical books are 121 years old at the time of the filming of this video. That's amazing. 1898 was the year that Bennett Cerf was born. So that's saying something, and it's really saying something to see which writers and which stories were being anthologized at that given time. And for the 10 of them, they were only $50, and with 30% off, I got them for $35. And then there's something else that I thought I would show you. This is a pen that I got from the Book Garden. It's Book Garden Booksellers, and it has the address and whatnot. I really like to collect things. I especially like bookmarks from bookstores, and I like to use the bookmark for the bookstore in which I bought the book. But I don't think I have any. I don't know if the Book Garden does them. If they don't, then they should. But they do have pens and business cards. So those are the books that I bought on my 12th visit to the Book Garden in Cream Ridge, New Jersey. It is one of my favorites, and it should be one of your favorites as well. I highly encourage you to go there and check them out. And I'm very happy for them on 30 years of service with the Book Garden. But George has been selling books for 42 years. And it's just amazing how he keeps going and puts 110% into the store. Thank you for tuning into this video. I hope you check out some more videos from our channel. I hope you give this video a like, subscribe if you have yet to do so, and I would love to talk about these books in the comments with you if you're interested. For now, keep reading.